The news hits with a brutal, disorienting force. A promising political campaign, frozen. A father's world, shattered. In St. Cloud, Minnesota, leading gubernatorial candidate Jeff Johnson has suspended his run for office. The reason is every parent's unspeakable nightmare. His 22-year-old daughter, Hallie Marie Tobler, was found dead in her apartment, the victim of multiple stab wounds. The suspect, now under police guard in a hospital, is her 23-year-old husband, who was found at the scene with what authorities believe are self-inflicted injuries. This is a devastating personal story, but we must see it as more than that. It is a horrifying spotlight on the epidemic of intimate partner violence that claims lives in locked apartments and silent homes every single day. Here is the most critical and infuriating detail that transforms this from a shocking crime into a systemic failure. Just last month, in January, the suspect pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct after a June 2025 incident where he choked Hallie. Let that sink in. A documented act of violencia strangulation, one of the strongest predictors of future homicide, occurred mere months ago. It resulted in a petty misdemeanor. Where was the intervention? Where was the escalation? The system saw a red flag and treated it like a minor traffic violation. This is the agonizing problem. Our legal and social frameworks consistently undervalue the danger of domestic violence until it is too late. How many more warning signs must be ignored before we treat them with the life or death seriousness they demand? This tragedy is not an anomaly. It is part of a pattern. St. Cloud police note this is the city's first homicide of 2026, but it follows a year where at least 2 of the 5 homicides were related to domestic violence. Zoom out further, and the scale is numbing. Every year, more than 12 million people in the U.S. are affected by domestic violence. These are not just statistics. They are neighbors, friends, and family members living in fear. The isolation of the pandemic, economic stress, and easy access to weapons create a toxic mix that too often explodes in fatal violence. We frame these events as private tragedies, but they are public health and safety failures of the highest order. So what is the solution? It starts with a fundamental shift in response. We must treat every report of intimate partner violence, especially choking, as a potential precursor to murder. This requires mandatory risk assessments, robust monitoring of offenders, and meaningful protection for survivors that goes beyond a piece of paper. It requires funding for shelters and advocates like the local Anna Marie's Alliance in St. Cloud, whose work is literally life-saving. As individuals, we must overcome the taboo of minding someone else's business. Learn the signs of abuse. If you suspect someone is in danger, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233 for guidance on how to help. Silence is the abuser's ally. Jeff Johnson's unimaginable loss has abruptly pulled him from the campaign trail. In this moment of profound grief, his family's private pain has publicly underscored a deadly national crisis. We can honor Hallie's memory not just with thoughts and prayers, but with decisive action. We must demand that our laws, our courts, and our communities start treating intimate partner violence with the lethal seriousness it is always warranted. The next warning sign is already out there. Will we see it? Will we act? Let this be the tragedy that finally makes us answer, yes,